How's it going, everyone? Lon here from Android Authority, and today we're taking a look at the Honor Magic 2. This phone is available only in China, so if you live here in the US or any other regions really, it's going to be a little bit difficult to get your hands on one, but this phone has a lot of really neat and interesting things going for it. But before we get into all of that, let's just go over some of the hardware specs really quickly. So it has a Kirin 980 processor inside, which is the same chipset that's in Huawei's very powerful Mate 20 Pro. So you have the same processing power in the Honor Magic 2, and this is a very fast and fluid smartphone because of that. You also have plenty of RAM with 6 or 8 gigabytes of RAM and 128 or 256 gigabytes of internal storage. It also has a 3400 milliamp hour battery, which is a little bit smaller than some of other Huawei smartphones, but it's still more than enough. I'm getting around 5 hours of screen on time fairly consistently. And it also has a 40-watt fast charger included in the box, which will get you 50% in only 15 minutes. Now, this phone does not have expandable storage, but with the amount of storage that you get inside of the phone already, I don't think that's too big of a deal. It also doesn't have wireless charging or a headphone jack, and it's also not IP certified against water and dust, and that's mostly due to this slider design. And when you have a moving part like this, it's a lot more difficult to make a phone water and dust tight. The slider mechanism is also going to raise a lot of concerns about hardware failure, but I don't really see the slider failing anytime soon. It feels very solid and sturdy, and everything clicks neatly into place when you slide the phone open or closed, so I think the slider is going to last for a very long time. The Honor Magic 2 is not the only phone out there with this slider form factor. The Mi Mix 3 from Xiaomi also uses the same slider design, and that phone is probably going to be the better choice if you want a phone with this particular design, just because the Mi Mix 3 has a much wider availability. Now, having a slider mechanism on this phone accomplishes a couple of things. One, the screen is surrounded by extremely thin bezels without resorting to a notch. And the screen is fantastic, not just because it has thin bezels and not just because it doesn't have a notch, but also because it's just a good looking panel. It's an AMOLED screen that's very vibrant and colorful. It's a great looking display. The other thing that this slider mechanism does is it allows the front-facing cameras to be hidden. So when you slide the phone open, this will reveal 3 front-facing cameras. This is 3 of the 6 cameras that are on this phone, but only one of the front-facing cameras actually takes photos, which is the one in the center, and it's a 16 megapixel sensor. The other 2 cameras are 2 megapixels for 3D facial recognition and also portrait mode effects. So this phone does have face unlock, and it's a little bit more advanced than some of the face unlock on other smartphones, and I use the face unlock on here quite a bit. I like it a lot more than the fingerprint sensor that's on the Magic 2, because the Magic 2 uses an in-screen fingerprint sensor, which is great, and I think it's the future of fingerprint sensors. But I've used a couple of phones that have in-screen fingerprint sensors at this point, and they all have one thing in common, and it's the fact that they're all very slow and unreliable, and the experience is pretty much the same on the Magic 2. This technology is definitely going to get better over time, but we're just not quite there yet. On the back of the Honor Magic 2 is a 16 megapixel primary sensor that's paired with a 16 megapixel wide-angle lens and a 24 megapixel monochrome sensor that's there for capturing black and white photos and, again, portrait mode effects. And the camera on the Honor Magic 2 is actually a really great camera. It takes fantastic looking photos that are very sharp, very well detailed. Color reproduction is fantastic. It also has really excellent dynamic range. I would say it's even on par with something like the Pixel 3. It captures a ton of shadow and highlight detail, and you can really notice that a lot when shooting in low light. Low light photos on this camera look amazing. It's an incredible camera when it comes to image quality. It also has AI scene recognition built in, which takes advantage of the NPU, so it can recognize a bunch of different things from pets, food, plants, cityscapes, you name it. And it's supposed to make your photos look better, and it definitely does do that, but I don't always notice the difference between the AI version and the non-AI version. But you can use this feature if you want, but if you prefer to tweak your photos yourself, it's better to have this feature turned off if you rather edit your photos in post. The software in here is Android 9 Pie, but it's running a custom skin called Magic UI 2.0, which is basically the same thing as EMUI. So if you like EMUI, you'll feel right at home here on the Magic 2. And if you don't like EMUI, this phone really isn't gonna do a whole lot to change your opinion. One of the more unique features of the software is this virtual assistant called Yoyo. And apparently it's machine learning capable and it's able to read your mind, which honestly sounds a little bit weird and creepy. But unfortunately, I wasn't able to test it because it only understands Mandarin. So that's really it for the Honor Magic 2. It's a really cool device that has a lot of interesting things going for it. It's just unfortunate that it's not coming to any other regions outside of China, but hopefully we'll get more phones like this in the future that are more widely available. But what do you guys think about the Honor Magic 2? Let me know down in the comment section below. And as always, give this video a thumbs up if you did enjoy it. Subscribe down below if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos. And check out the website, androidauthority.com, for more in-depth coverage. And I will talk to you guys in the next video.